Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett. And we are just chilling, writing code, trying to get this light to go on. There we go. I like it nice and bright in the earlier parts of the day. And then I have an alarm that goes off at 3. So if I happen to be in the office, which I won't be in today, but if I happen to be in the office at 3 o'clock, I will turn off one of the lights and I have this little light bar. I'll turn that to red or to like a warm evening colors. And I do that like at 3 o'clock. And every time I do that, it is so much easier to fall asleep that night. Um, so it's just sort of like, I think it hacks like I know a lot of developers that like work in the morning or work all day long in like a dark room, like a very, very dark room. And they have like a hoodie on and they have like everything covered, and then like they get off work at like 5 in the afternoon, and then they go outside, and then they're like, that is literally the brightest part of their whole day. Like they walk out into the sunlight and then they walk to their car or whatever, and then they're like, because I think what you do when you do that is you actually program your body to think it's noon, high noon, or the brightest part of the day at like 5 in the afternoon, 6 in the afternoon, something like that. And then you're like, surprised when at 10 o'clock that night you can't go to sleep. And it's like, yeah, because your body thinks it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, at least that's my thought. So, anyways, I've got this application. We're done. We're just sort of trying to finish it up. And I finished up my About the Site yesterday with the help of ChatGPT. Actually, I guess it would be interesting to see how this will look at full size. So let's just go up to full size. So this page itself looks pretty good at full size, I think. Um, Hello, how are you? See, that's not bad. Hello, how are you? So I think it looks pretty good on full size. And let's see what this. Yeah, see, I think that looks great. Um, I think that actually looks better than at partial size. So now I don't know how it works on the phone. I haven't ever put this application anywhere where I would be able to get to it with the phone. It will go to a website here soon. I think, well, two things. One thing is I want to try to get it like on GitHub. Like GitHub has a way to like have a website associated with I don't know if it's with your whole account or with so if it's to a repo, like if there's like a one-to-one, this repo has this website, I'll probably do it. If it's to my whole account, then I probably won't. And then I have a DreamHost account that I've had. Uh, I kind of started doing stuff with DreamHost. I think it was either 1996 or 1997. Now they had like a point where they sold or bought or something like that or merged with some other organization, and they said that they were going to go the youngest to the oldest. So like I think I was like DreamHost's like 90th customer ever. And they have like over 1 million customers now. And then, but then they had like a couple thousand customers, maybe 10,000 customers when they did this merger thing. And since I was one of their very oldest people, I ended up being like one of the very last people put in. So I lost sort of that prestige of having that early number because I was a higher number. But it wouldn't surprise me if like literally none of those 10,000 are there. I might be their oldest customer again. And then like I would say for like 10 years with DreamHost, they were like, they would treat me like gold because I was like this, like they were like, oh man, you got this, you're one of our original customers. We really appreciate you. We wouldn't be where we are without people like you. And then, but now I think they are probably meaner to old people that have been around for a long, long time, than they are to new people. And I think it's because our accounts are probably very, very complex, because they made changes along the way, and and stuff like that. So I don't think anyone's too thrilled to hear from me whenever I reach out to DreamHost. Um, so yeah, you know, but they do a great job, and the price is very reasonable, um, and it's much cheaper now than when in 1996 when I started with them, I was paying like I want to say $49.99 a month, maybe $39.99 a month, and I got 5 megs of space on the web and no like processing, no Perl, no PHP, no database, nothing like that, and I was paying like $50 a month for $39.99 a month, something like that. And then today it's like you can buy an account with them. I think the cheapest account you can get with them now is like $5 a month with unlimited space, like gigs and gigs and space. I think they have one rule that anything you have there has to be accessible by the web, so you're not allowed to just use it as like a backup for your stuff. But anyways, so now we need to write something about me, which is feels weird, right? Because it's like, but I do think it matters to sort of explain, um, like why you're there. Like people want to know why a website's here and like that, things like that. So, so yesterday what I did was I popped up a notepad. I'm always afraid to do this because I do have some stuff in Notepad that like like just stuff that I like, financial stuff and stuff like that I wouldn't want to just throw it. Not that it's a security thing. It's just like kind of a, I don't know. It'd be kind of embarrassing. But I guess what I'll do is I'll turn off my webcam for a second. There we go. It's weird because the light of is recording is still on. Like my camera light is still on, even though I've turned the webcam off and I don't see it there. Guess I could put this out a tiny bit. There we go. Hey, rat. Oh, I forgot your nut. I'm gonna start my. Now let me open that up. Turn my webcam back on. Apparently, it didn't actually turn on. Oh, I wonder. Okay, so we do have a deactivate. I bet you deactivate. No, even with deactivate on, off, the webcam stays on my computer. All right, so here's your nut, right? Sorry about that. There we go. Got another almond. There you go, baby. All right. So, okay, so name is Marty, and I started coding in I believe it was 1979. I always get a little confused. Let me go to ChatGPT. I remember my dad bought me my parents bought me a VIC 20 for Christmas the very first year the VIC 20s came out. Did the VIC 20 come? I believe it was 1979. Oh, VIC 20. Yeah, oh, it was 1980. Okay. 1980 in Japan and launched to the US in late 1980. Yeah, so like I guess it was 1980. And I know I got it before it became the wider availability. 1980. Loading on Christmas Day, 1980. Started building websites in 1996. I started 1996, I started working for Boeing as a systems engineer, writing, and my main job was writing software specifications for the AC-130U gunship. In 1999, I started working professionally as a web developer. My title in 1999 was HTML producer. Let's see. I would say that it was in 2023. I heard about the Voice API, and I have been learning about it ever since then. First, I built a vanilla JS / HTML / CSS web application explore the Voice API. Once I finished that, I started building this site because I wanted to understand how to integrate Angular and the Voice API. I finished this application in the summer of 2025. All right, so I feel like that's pretty good. Just the pure data facts of about me in the context of this application. I do want to so now I'm going to use ChatGPT to just make this sound good, make this more professional, because that's really not my skill. So I was able to like kind of gather all the facts that I think are pertinent to this, but like as far as grammatical rules and styling and all kinds of stuff like that, there are definitely parts of software development that are not I'm not software development about writing that I'm not even aware of. You know, it's just not my thing. You can't be good at everything. ChatGPT seems to be really good at that. I don't know why. And I do think it is quite hilarious that in retrospect, they sort of, when they introduced software or like ChatGPT and these AIs, they sort of introduced it in a way that I think was just absolutely false, and they knew they were lying when they did it. So I think with the context of I think within the context of software development, I mean, within the context of software development, yeah, that'd be a good way to put it. I think that ChatGPT, A, will help you become faster at software development. B, and I think more importantly, is it will root out whether you're actually doing software development or whether you're faking. Um, and I think that that's why I think when companies are saying that they're firing 90% of their coders because of AI, I think most people hear those words and what they translate that to mean is the AI is writing the code instead of the people. And I don't think that's true. I don't think anywhere is doing that. I don't know. I definitely don't know, but I don't think anyone's doing that. I think what's happening is the AI is exposing people who don't know how to code. Um, and I do think we've gotten to a point where like literally 99 out of 100 software developers don't know how to code. Um, so it doesn't surprise me that especially in the big organizations that they can't just like say, hey, okay, everybody use my Copilot or use ChatGPT or whatever to help you write code, and then they get a report back of, okay, yeah, this person knows how to code, this person does not know how to code, this person never writes any code, this person, like it outs everybody, and I think that's what's really happening. But anyways, um, so I have a website. I guess maybe I should do this. Oh, I did it in here. Okay, I have a website that um, is a tool. So I guess I think it was in here. Okay, okay, so this is what I have for my about the author page. Can you clean it up? So I think what you have to do, and I don't know this, I really don't, but I think what you have to do when you're using like AI as a software developer is you do have to figure out, okay, what are things that I want to be good at, and what are things that I don't care about, or not care about is probably overstating it, but like, what are things that it is not critical for me to like? I would rather not spend a lot of time learning that. And one thing is becoming a beautiful writer. To be a beautiful writer, you really have to go down and just get abused by like comp one teachers and people like that. Just brutal, brutal, insecure, just people that are just awful. And they will look at your writing and they will just tear you apart. Well, I don't really want to go through that. I'd rather just ask ChatGPT to write it up for me. And, the people that want to write beautiful stuff for other people, more power to them. But I just want it to be possible. I want it to be good enough that, like, it doesn't, like, devalue the site because they're like, oh my gosh, some moron wrote this. Like, I want it to be like, oh, okay. I don't want it to take away from the website. Um, there we go. Personal story while raising it to a professional, engaging style. See, that's so cool. Keeping it the personal story while raising it to a professional and engaging style. So, and that is exactly what I was trying to do. I just didn't have the words for it. Passionate about programming since Christmas Day of 19. I wonder about this passionate word. I think for some people, the word passionate has a bit too much. It has some other meanings that aren't positive. Um, that early curiosity grew into a lifelong pursuit. By 1996, I shifted my focus to the emergency world the web building I first at the time at a time when the internet was just beginning to take shape as a mainstream platform. That is such an interesting thing because I can remember in 1997 reading that like Bill Gates was saying that the web was just a a fad, and that Microsoft had no interest in doing that. I think that was in 1990. No, maybe that was in 1995, or it could have been 1996, because I was in Orlando at the time, so I was still in college when I heard that. Um, that same year, I joined Boeing as a engineer, where my primary responsibility was writing software specification for the. This role gave me a strong foundation in precision, documentation, and discipline required to design software systems for complex, mission critical environments. So that is absolutely true. It's kind of crazy that it could figure that out based on just the limited amount of information that I gave it. You know, in 1999, I transitioned into web development professionally with an official title of HTML producer. The field was evolving rapidly, and I embraced the challenge of keeping pace with new technologies and practices as the internet matured. Now, here was the interesting thing about that job. So that was for a .com startup, and they had, I want to say, 24 developers when I started there, and like if I remember correctly, like 14 of them were Russian, and then like six of them were Chinese. And man, those two groups. Now, what was interesting is I wrote all the JavaScript and HTML. Well, me and my boss, we wrote all the HTML and JavaScript together, and there was just the two of us. We were not considered programmers. We were considered, I don't know what we were considered, producers. I don't know what we were really considered, but like, um, and I think that was the very beginning of like I think when a organization looks at their development staff, they'll see that they have way more back end developers and those types of developers than front end developers, and then they will automatically assume it's because the front end is easier than the back end, and then everything gets very screwed up and distorted. But I don't think that's the truth. I think the reality is it's just so much harder to find front end developers than back end developers. And so they kind of get pulled in, and then you have like 20 voices that are all back end developers, and then only a couple voices that are front end developers. More recently, in 2023, I discovered the voice recognition API and became deeply interested in its potential. To explore it, I first built a simple application using vanilla JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. That project laid the groundwork for a larger endeavor, creating this site. My goal was not only to deepen my understanding of the API, but also how to integrate it with Angular, a framework which I've worked with extensively in professional settings. This website represents the culmination of that effort, completed in summer of 2025. It reflects both my ongoing interest in web technologies and my belief that voice interactions will play an increasing significant role in the future of the internet. I do not know. I don't think that's even true. I think it is a critical tool for getting stuff done, and it has the potential to make a lot of things a lot more user friendly, and make things some things that just are just a real pain in the butt to do easier. But I do not think it is a um, significant. Well, will play an increasingly. Well, okay, I guess that is true. Belief that the voice interaction will play an increasingly significant role in the future. Then that is true, I guess. Now that I read that outside of, so when I first read that, I thought it meant that it was going to be like one of the more important aspects of software development, but I don't think so. I do think it is going to be very, very crazy. So I don't want that passionate about programming. Been coding. I'm just going to remove that passionate with coding. Replace it with coding. Control copy. All right, so that's step one. So step two is to put this in here. Man, that is so much. Well, I guess it's not because I mean, I was like, that's so much smaller than I remember. But since this is linear, that's really nice, actually. The fact that it uh, is so linear. But I think we just want to kind of mimic this up here. So we'll just do that. And then we'll do, I have been programming. I just, it's a shame, but I think that word passionate has like, with people like authority figures and people that are in power, like has a different meaning than it does to a lot of people. And I think it is a meaning that is not positive. Um, I think a lot of people say passionate means that you're irrational. Um, and yeah, I'm going to actually ask ChatGPT what it thinks of that. So it's pretty good. It's really good. This is really good. But I think the word passionate, passionate has negative connotations amongst some people. You're right. Passionate can sometimes come as cliche or even a bit self-promotional, professional, academic. Um, so I do think, so I think some people in power see it as meaning unstable or irrational. It's very sharp. Some professional circles, especially when dealing with hiring managers, executives, or economics, can read as unstable, overly emotional, or even unserious rather than steady and reliable. Dedication, long term engagement, expertise. I've always been passionate, you might say. I've been maintaining consistent focus on programming since 1990. I've built a sustained career programming over 4 decades. That's a good one. I pursued software development with long term commitment and discipline. All right. So I do think that its suggestions are pretty good, but I think coding is perfect, um, or programming. I feel like this might be faster just to do it this way. I remember just spending hours and hours and hours doing exactly what I'm doing now. Now it's very rare to have to do this. One of my favorite tasks that I used to just really love doing when I first got into software development was like they would give you like a JPEG file and you'd have to break it down into HTML. And then there was like Adobe had tools that you could just slice and dice the picture up and turn it into code. I always really enjoyed doing that. I don't know why, but it was very fun to me. All right, so let's see how that looks. It's rebuilding, building. All right. Then chew about the developer. Yeah, I think that looks great. 280. All right. So next one I'm going to do, and I will do that next time, is probably what could do wrong because that's going to be all text as well. And then maybe, so hopefully I can get that done on Saturday, and then on Sunday, maybe Saturday night or Sunday morning or something, I can make a quick video on how to do this. Unfortunately, I guess it doesn't make sense to make a video of me videoing myself making a video of that. So I'll probably do that offline. I think that will literally be the only task that I ever did this whole time offline. Everything else I did on camera. So that is kind of crazy. But yeah, so and then I think I'll make a video on like, oh, I'll commit my changes, make a video on, push it, and then make a video, then like create a distribution and make a video on that, and then maybe explore. Um, all right, then I'll set up a website over at DreamHost. I could make a video on that. The problem with that is that when you're moving around in the DreamHost panel, there's a possibility that you're going to leak some sort of information that could make it very, very easy for someone to hack the website. Um, and your likelihood of getting hacked, I think, has basically two, there's two factors. One factor is how useful and fun and joyful and profitable would it be to hack your website. So hacking this website probably would be almost of no profit or funness or anything. And then two is how how easy is it going to be to hack? If it's going to be super easy, then you know you're probably someone may just hack you just for the practice, just for the skill. But if it's going to take some effort and there's no real value, you're probably okay. Like I think any website, no matter what, can be hacked. But if you're willing to put enough resources into hacking it, but like you have to find that balance of like, okay, how secure do you want to be versus that, and that I guess making my DreamHost like a thing where I set up a DreamHost and website for this to go to. Yeah, I probably will do that off camera as well, and then just FTP it up there, and show how to how I push it out there and how it works, blah 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 blah, and um, and then I probably will do the GitHub. I'll probably do the exploration of how to set up a GitHub website, or even if it's possible. Um, so if I distribute my site to GitHub for public access, are those up per repository or my whole account? How you set it up, use your one per account. Okay, so project site. Okay, so I can set up apparently I could do it either way. I can set one up that's just for the whole thing, and then I can set it up by repository. Voice API demo. Oh wow, you can have unlimited project sites for each repo. Wow, interesting. Yeah, so this is what I'll do this probably and this. Okay. So that is coming. So anyways, that is that for today. We are probably I don't know. I guess we're probably still like 4 videos away from being done. We're not coding anymore. But we're doing some content, and then once we're done with the content, we're gonna do a distribution, um, and then that'll be it. That'll be done. It's gonna be this was a fun project. I'm gonna miss it, but I'm definitely looking forward to the next projects that'll come out of this. And happy coding. Bye.